On today's show,
we'll discuss a few things to watch for heading into Game 2 of the NBA Finals.
Will the Cavs slow the pace? Will their big three get help? Can the Warriors play even better?
And the biggest question of them all, what's Trey Kirby wearing tonight?
It's Sunday, June 4th. The starter starts now.
Good evening, Sweet World, and welcome to The Starters, presented by Jack Daniels Tennessee Honey. Whether you're listening to the podcast, joining us live right now on NBA TV, or later on YouTube, we're very, very happy to have you. I'm Jay Skeets, and alongside me, as always, that's Tass Mellis.
Happy Sunday Fun Day, everybody.
To his right, it's the international man of mystery, taking it to the max, Lee Ellis.
Friend.
Lily. Trey Kirby, of course, still in Oakland, still at the NBA Finals. We'll talk to the bearded one a little bit later in the show. But first, guys, the NBA Finals continue at the Oracle tonight as the Warriors host the Cavs up 1-0. In Game 1, Kevin Durant was dominant, Steph Curry looked healthy, and Cleveland failed to keep up with their opponents on either end of the floor. The defending champs are going to have to clean up some mistakes here in order to make this competitive, but let's focus on a few specific things here to watch for as we head into Game 2 tonight. Tass, why don't you get us started? What are you focusing on?
Since Game 1, right at the end of it, since that blowout, a lot of talk about the Cavs have to slow it down. They got to get less possessions. The Warriors are just too good. To that, I say yes and no. I still think the Cavs want to run in transition, get open threes. They have the best offense in the entire playoffs coming into this NBA Finals. They believe in themselves. At the same time, I say yes because when they get into those sets, I think they should take some more time off the clock.
Okay.
Should go a little bit deeper because that helps their defense. That helps them know where their shots are coming from. It reminds me of Round 2, Game 1, Spurs-Rockets. The Rockets won by 27 points. They shellacked the Spurs because the Spurs were taking real quick shots, didn't know where they were coming from, were terrible in transition defense. Now, I don't know if the Cavs are going to come back and win the series like the San Antonio Spurs, but I do think they're going to bounce back big time. And a lot of it has to do with defense.
Pick your spots, though, you're saying.
Yeah, definitely. But they believe in their offense. And on the defensive end, it will help them to know where their shots are coming from. They'll get back in defense because they didn't have a steal. They didn't have one steal in Game 1.
Yeah,
that is crazy.
Yeah.
So what is that all about? That is just about sort of getting a feel and a flow, I believe, for this series, just kind of feeling it out. It was a feel-out game. You'd have to think that LeBron James will have this team ready for Game 2s like he always does. Hey, you got to remember, his 3 championships, he hasn't won a Game 1 in the NBA Finals, so that's a positive for the Cleveland Cavaliers. But this is crazy to see that a team lose in the hustle stats in all 3 categories like this. They just weren't ready. They haven't played a team like the Warriors, so I think that's just a huge part of it.
Yeah, and it's quality of possession as well. You know, last year, or a couple of years ago when there was no Kyrie and no Kevin Love, LeBron didn't really have a choice. He had to slow it down because he didn't have those weapons. He's got those weapons now, so I don't think they need a massive shift of their normal philosophy, which is get out, try to get a lot of three-pointers going. They just have to make sure they're good shots, the ball maybe moving around a little bit more than usual to unsettle the defense, because we know that's the thing. The Warriors' defense is as good as their offense, so the Cavs have to find a way just to get better quality shots than they got in Game 1. And as always, can't fall behind early. You just cannot fall behind. That is just a death warrant.
Yeah, Coach Lue, he addressed this on Saturday. He says we're not focusing on slowing it down. I mean, we may have done that in the previous 2 finals, but that's not what our mojo is here. We are an offensive juggernaut ourselves. We just have to take care of the ball a little bit better, and I think be better on the glass as well. But pick our spots, like you were saying. So, there was 102 possessions in Game 1. That's not lightning fast in today's NBA game, but that's pretty average for your Warriors this season. And you look back again, 15 and 16, majority of the games were fewer than that. They were a little bit more, muck it up a little bit more and take your time a little bit in possessions. But I think it'll be pretty similar here tonight. I just don't think the Cavs will have those 20 turnovers, which led to a lot of fast break points for the Warriors.
And I think the Cavs will simply be a little bit more comfortable because it's Game 2.
Yeah.
But I think the Warriors will be more comfortable too. They missed a ton of layups in the first half. They were 14 for 29 at the rim. 19 for 34, excuse me. I knew there was 15 misses, but my math is off. So many numbers. Game 1, Game 2, Game 3, Game 4.
Sunday. This is weird for us.
But, obviously those turnovers will sort of come back to the mean as well. That 16 turnover gap hasn't happened in 30 years in the NBA Finals, so that's gotta shrink as well.
Okay, so talking about pace here, what's something that you're keeping your eye on tonight? What's to watch for?
If you look at the Cavs box score from game one, the big three actually performed okay. They all had pretty decent games, but after that, there was virtually nothing from the Cavs, and that has to change in game two. They have to get a contribution from more than one guy. Someone like J.R. Smith doesn't have to have 30 points or anything like that. Darren Williams, Kyle Korver, Channing Frye, Jefferson, whoever's out there, they all have to chip in a little bit so that when LeBron or Kyrie goes to the bench, the team doesn't fall apart and they just haven't got any offense. So that comes about sharing the ball, again, quality possessions. Perhaps, again, in that situation, you do maybe slow it down a little bit. Just when you don't have LeBron out there or Kyrie running the offense, make sure you're getting good quality possessions. And again, you just have to provide some sort of support, whether it's defensively, whether it's rebounding, knocking down those shots. We know that they're going to get a few opportunities, the JRs and the Shumperts and the Korvers. When you get them in the finals, you can't afford to miss too many.
The Cavs seem to be heading into this game too. Coach Lou and the Cavs are talking about J.R. Smith. They've called him an assassin, and he's just got to shoot more because he was quiet in that game one.
Yeah.
Quiet stuff from him. Only 4 shots in 28 minutes. For a guy that when we usually talk about JR, the first thing you say is like, this guy's never seen a shot he doesn't love.
Exactly.
And so he needs to give him a little bit something else.
You'd probably prefer him missing 10 to 12 shots.
I think you're right.
Because you at least want him in that mindset where he's shooting and he's aggressive and he's trying to get points. But when he doesn't shoot, if he doesn't give you much on the defensive end, there's not a lot of room out there for him.
JR was also sort of mentally gone on the defensive end. They had 3 out-of-bounds plays underneath their own hoop that they had layups on them. And that can't happen. I think the entire team just needs to lock in. And again, I think their game plan was, go out to those shooters. Well, I think they're going to simplify things a little bit, and it's stop the basketball.
Stop the basketball. Don't give up layups and dunks to Kevin Durant. That's probably a good thing. Do you think of those guys like Shumpert, Darren Williams, Kyle Korver? Did you like the shots they were getting in game one and they just weren't knocking them down, or you think the Cavs can do a better job of sort of getting those guys a little bit more involved and maybe cleaner looks?
I think it's a bit of both.
Yeah.
And I think as well, when they're down, when they're trailing, it's very hard to rely on your second unit to get you back into it. So they can't afford it when they come out in the first quarter or the second quarter in the sort of transition minutes. They can't afford to slip too far behind then. But, I mean, Darren Williams is a former All-Star. Kyle Korver, we know he's a former All-Star as well.
Yeah, but what does that really mean?
But what I'm saying is these guys aren't just rookie guys. They've been around.
Okay,
they know how to get to spots. They know how to get themselves open. They know how to find shots. It's tough to do against the best defense in the league. But again, this is why these guys were signed and traded and brought here, because they need that experience coming off the bench to be able to not have the Cavs fall too far behind.
And there's been a lot of talk about Tristan Thompson and how he didn't affect the game on the glass. And he said post-game he was kind of taken aback by the Warriors, and he just felt like, we weren't ready, and this team makes you realize you just have to go all out.
Right.
And
it probably is a shock coming from playing, the Raps and the Celtics to then suddenly playing the Warriors.
Yeah, and it sounds odd coming out of my mouth to hear a player say, we've got to go all out. Well, it's the finals, but at the same time, it's strange. I mean, this Golden State Warriors team is pretty special. So Tristan Thompson, I think, will have an effect on the game, unlike Game 1. I mean, he's got to be a different player.
He said it's going to be like a WWE match out there, so I wonder if he wears the belt out there tonight to sort of show
the Warriors
his intent.
did a good job. The Warriors did a good job. They've said, Zaza and McGee when he was in there, and obviously Draymond around the glass, they did a great job of just getting bodies on him.
Yeah.
They know that Tristan
That's
Thompson,
what you have to do.
the thing he brings to the game is offensive rebounds, so it takes sometimes 1 or 2 guys at least to box out a guy and keep him away from them. They did a great job in Game 1, but you're right. He's going to be way more fired up here in Game 2 because they're going in there saying, you got to get us some extra possession, especially against this team. So that's a lot of stuff about the Cavs and what they can do and the adjustments they can make. I'm looking at the Warriors side of things here, and I'm wondering, do the Warriors have another gear? Because you were alluding to it, Tess. They didn't play all that great. Outside of really Durant and Curry, this was not like a juggernaut Warriors performance in Game 1. You mentioned all the missed little bunnies, especially in the first half, from Zaza and from Clay and Draymond. That's the scary part here. They still won by 20 in Game 1, and you could very easily see Draymond Green and Klay Thompson not going 6 for 28 combined like they did in Game 1, especially Klay Thompson, who we keep waiting and waiting
it's coming,
and waiting.
don't worry.
I mean, he's shooting 29% over the last 5 games or so in the playoffs here. It's coming, right?
It's coming. It's coming.
You got to imagine that 25, 30-point explosion from him where he hits 6 or 7 threes is coming. And if it does, then I don't know what the Cavs do at this point, because Durant looks great. Curry looks healthy and he looks great, and then man, you got Draymond and Clay chipping in here a little bit more. It could be lights out earlier.
Let's not ignore Clay's defensive effort as well.
Oh, for sure.
He's putting in a great performance.
Draymond
there.
and Clay were unbelievable defensively in this game, but they're going to shoot probably better than 6 for 28.
Yes, I'll guarantee they'll shoot better than that tonight.
Wow.
Wow. Bold prediction.
Bold prediction right now.
It is weird to see Clay go 3 for 16 and Draymond Green, 3 for 12. Very strange. That first half, the Warriors did not look great. I mean, simply put, we saw some nerves, whatever you want to call it, rust that first quarter. A lot of sloppiness, a lot of missed layups. They missed every single 3 they took in the second quarter. This is a little scary from the Cavs' perspective.
That's not an A+ game from them in game 1.
No.
That was maybe a B+ game, so they have another level. Here's the other scary part. You didn't see the death lineup, the Warriors' 4 All-Stars and Andre Iguodala a whole lot in game 1 because it turned into a blowout. We saw it 2 minutes. That's it.
Wasn't
if this
needed,
is a much more competitive game, and we're hoping it is, we're going to see that lineup a whole lot more, you'd expect, either from Coach Brown or Coach Kerr, whoever's in there tonight, to say, well, let's go with our best lineup and see what the Cavs counter is. So tough if you're a Cavs fan, but obviously hoping some shots fall. They don't turn the ball over as much, and we're hoping as fans we get a competitive game here tonight.
Let's do this.
All right, we got to take a break. Lots more still to come on this Sunday edition of The Starters. Trey Kirby will join us live from the Oracle floor in Oakland. He's pumped up.
He's got a shirt on.
Yeah, he does have a shirt on. That's a good start.
He's weirding out a lot of people right now. Look who it is. It's Trey by the Bay. Hey-yo! Trey, start us off with a little story time. Apparently Saturday at Cavs Shoot-Around, you produced a story.
No, I would never forget this story. It's the internet that's forgotten this story. I had my most public LeBron moment ever. I've been at the last 4 finals, so we kind of see each other here and there. And yesterday I was so close to him during Shoot-Around. I could reach out and touch him. Eventually, I noticed his shoes, he noticed my beard, we dapped up.
Ooh.
But the problem was, for the first time ever, a LeBron interaction wasn't captured by any camera. There was videos. Look at all of these cameras. This whole thing, he's shooting, he's knocking down threes. It eventually loops over to the other side, and Arash Markazi cuts it off because he couldn't see LeBron, and that's where my LeBron moment happened. I watched every single video on social media of this LeBron shoot-around, trying to see one smidge of me giving the king a high five, and the best I could find was this accidental walk-by on some random dude's Instagram. Guys, you're just going to have to trust me. It happened.
Sounds like fake news to me. Sounds like fake news.
Okay, so you got a dap from LeBron James. You also got a dap from Guy Fieri earlier this year. You said that was the best moment of your life. Which is the better dap?
Well, the best picture still has to be that Guy Fieri fist bump, but I guess we'll never know because maybe I nailed the one with LeBron too, but it's been lost to time.
All right, so you're around the Cavs yesterday at Shoot-Around. What was the central theme that they were speaking about?
Well, you guys touched on it off the top. There was a lot of talk about the game being more physical and the Warriors expecting the Cavs to be more physical, but all that talk was coming from the Warriors because, like you guys are saying, the Cavs just want to play like they did in game 1, which is a little surprising to me. It seems to me they play the Warriors best when they're grabbing and holding and slowing things down and getting a lot of ISO possessions. That way they can crash the glass. I kind of think that's the way forward, but it definitely didn't feel like the Cavs thought that yesterday. It's going to be interesting to see how things actually go down in game 2. Was it a smokescreen saying they're going to play the same way? I don't know, but it's definitely a clash of styles, and I personally think if you're going to try and out-Warriors the Warriors, good luck.
Some who's who stars behind you.
Yeah,
as you're
that was
talking.
awesome. I didn't hear a word you said.
We got a Grant Hill. We got a Chico Robinson hanging out. Man.
Zeke.
Yeah, I sat down to do this hit, and people are just gravitating towards me.
Well,
come on over and let's capture these interactions.
And speaking of celebrities, it's time to give you your challenge, and it is a celebrity-focused challenge. We know you're great at taking photos with celebrities, Trey, so that's your challenge. Just go find a huge name celebrity, and your benchmark is actually what Lee did last year at Game 2 of the NBA Finals with Chris Tucker here. So try and get a bigger celebrity if
try
possible.
and get your nostrils in the photo.
Well, if that's the benchmark, then we're going to hurdle it crazy tonight.
Wow.
There's a lot of big names. I'm not guaranteeing a Jay-Z or Rihanna, but I'm also not guaranteed.
Okay.
Wow.
He is taking on this challenge. All right, great stuff, Trey. Hang out with us just after the break. We got to take a quick one here, but after it, Trey talks to fans outside Oracle Arena about what they think the third straight Warriors-Cavs finals should be called.
The Starters on NBA TV is brought to you by Jack Daniel's Tennessee Honey, proud partner of the NBA. Do your friends proud. Please drink responsibly.
Back with the Starters. Trey Kirby still with us live from the Oracle Arena in Oakland, getting ready for Game 2 tonight. We're keeping Trey very, very busy here. This isn't a vacation, Lee. Take note, you're going into Cleveland soon. But Trey, before Game 1, we sent you out onto the streets to talk to the people.
Yeah, the first threequel in NBA history needs a nickname, but with so many options floating around, I took it to the fans to see what they think it should be called. Cavs Warriors 3, the first time we've seen two teams in the finals for 3 straight years. All of the great threequels have nicknames like D3 the Mighty Ducks. So what are we going to call Cavs Warriors 3?
I think we can only call it the trilogy. That's really what it is. Cavs Warriors 3, I mean, it's nothing but classic, man.
The trilogy.
The trilogy, I like it. Very furious sounding, very tough.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna trilogy. That sounds good.
Trilogy? What else do you call it?
A lot of people are calling it the trilogy. It makes sense.
No, trilogy. The trilogy.
Trilogy because it's gonna be thrilling.
Dude, it's gonna be off the hook.
Man, that's a tough question because this is epic. It's like the trifecta.
Honestly, this is epic or it's the trifecta. Those both work.
It's a tiebreaker.
This is probably the Clash of the Titans. Yeah, we actually were thinking about that. We weren't sure exactly what to call it, but I think Clash of the Titans.
Oh, wow. The trilogy. Threes. Yeah. Threes as in not just this a third. It's going to be right in here tonight.
Not trilogy, threelogy.
You got it.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Cavs Warriors 3. Oh, that's a tough one.
Warriors take it all.
Well, I saw Star Wars, so Darth Vader versus, who's the other guy? I don't know. Luke.
Works for me. Cavs Warriors 3, Darth Vader versus that other guy, Luke.
The king will be crowned.
The king will be crowned.
The king will be dethroned.
See, that makes a little more sense to me. The king will be crowned. You're wearing a Warriors jersey.
I like his better.
What should we call Cavs Warriors 3?
The decision.
The decision? I think that might already be related to LeBron James a little bit.
The Battle of Evermore.
The Battle of Evermore? Sounds very fancy.
Yep, thank you.
We calling this Sweep City. Sweep City. Dub Nation here. Sweep City.
No, we're not calling it the Sweep City. We are calling this Cavalierist.
If I have to give a name to this game, I think we can say like a gladiator game or a Spartan race or something like that.
Payback's gonna be a
Don't worry, we got bleeps.
We're gonna tap it and send them back to Cleveland. All right?
You're gonna tap that what?
That what?
It has to be like Oakland over the land or something like this, right? Like it has to be like the real land, like Oakland.
Oh, the battle for the land battle.
Sounds too much like lamb when we say battle for the land.
Battle for the Lamb would be a weird one.
the LeBron a mission.
LeBron a mission?
No, like like abomination, like LeBronation.
LeBronation. It is hard to say.
Yeah, that's not probably good. Sorry, America.
Wow, some fascinating suggestions there. Trey, do you have a personal favorite of those?
Well, I do like the guy at the end suggesting LeBronation, but I think you gotta call it Warriors Cavs 3, Trey by the Bay. It's our third time by the Bay, y'all.
Okay, that's all right. That's all right. TK, thank you so much, bud, for joining us tonight. Enjoy Game 2, and we'll see you back here in the ATL very, very soon. We gotta take a break, but when we return, we revisit a historic MJ Finals performance. You're watching The Starters, presented by Jack Daniel's Tennessee Honey. Welcome back to The Starters. Lee, you're gonna love this. You're You're going to love this. Yesterday, June 3rd, marked the 25th anniversary of Michael Jordan's famous shrug game.
Oh, yeah.
It was game 1 of the 92 finals, Bulls versus Blazers. Now, the series was being billed as a best player alive debate between Michael Jordan and Clyde Drexler, though the hype did not last long. As MJ came out, he hit an astonishing 6 3-pointers in the first half. It came as such a surprise that even the GOAT was a little shocked there, dropping the iconic "I don't know" shrug over to Magic Johnson and the NBC broadcast. And Michael Jordan was the greatest player of all time, but he was not known as a three-point shooter.
No.
He shot 27% from three during that year, during the regular season, but there he was, knocking down 6.
I think he used that Clyde Drexler versus him talk to motivate himself a little bit.
Did he ever do that?
No,
Michael Jordan?
not Michael
You
Jordan.
find
no.
something like that and hang on to it and use it.
I
as
like though
motivation?
now how you see guys during the regular season, they'll hit a couple of shots and they start
You
doing
gotta
the
shrug.
Yeah,
You
John
gotta
Wall
shrug.
did it this year. A few other guys have done it.
It's unbelievable. All right, so that's 25 years ago, nearly to the day, but we're looking ahead here to Game 2 tonight of the NBA Finals. Cavs and Warriors. Golden State taking Game 1 in pretty dominant fashion. Game 2 tonight. Lee, you'll also like this. 8 p.m. Eastern start.
Perfect.
You love that, man. You'll
Even
be
if
in
it
bed
goes-
by 10:30, 10:45.
Even if it goes to overtime,
That'll
I'm
be
going to
great.
be on track.
But let's get some Game 2 predictions. We obviously looked at some things to watch for leading into this game. But let's get some Game 2 predictions. What's your feeling on this one?
Well, we talked about it a little bit. I think Draymond and Clay are actually going to perform a lot better. I mean, those guys we talked about, their defense was great, but on the offensive end, I think we're going to see those guys loosen up a little bit. Clay's bound to hit some shots sooner or later. And it's going to take a little bit of the pressure then off Steph and KD to carry the offensive load scoring the ball. So I just think we're going to see those two guys break out of it. Even Draymond, I mean, we don't expect him to shoot, obviously, as well as Klay Thompson, but I just think that he's one of those guys that he likes to make a statement. He likes to sort of contribute on the offensive end. I think we're going to see more of that.
Are you leaning towards what we got in last year's finals where the Warriors took the first 2 games before we went back to Cleveland?
Yeah, I mean, I think Cleveland's going to play a lot better, but, you know, there's no reason why Golden State can't play better as well. So I think it's going to be another Warriors win.
Either way, we are going to have a closer game. It's going to go down closer to the
Sell
wire.
me, man.
Yeah,
Sell me.
Because LeBron James is like that nice car that goes up to the line and just lets the other car get ahead. Oh, you can have that Game 1. Go ahead. And then Game 2, bang,
Right.
puts it into gear and kicks some butt. So it will be a closer game. The Warriors can still win, but I think we'll have a closer game into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to have, I can't imagine they're going to have 20 turnovers like we said. They are going to, you know, they're talking about playing more physical. I think that's to their advantage for sure. I think LeBron, you said it, usually comes out in Game 2s and plays, he's recalibrated. I said it.
Nice.
I said recalibrate, right?
1 for 4.
So I'm with you guys. It's going to be a much more competitive game. Here's a look at the NBA TV coverage now, pregame. I mean, right after us. Don't go anywhere. You got the postgame show here on the network, and then there's a look at Monday. We're back at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, so join us then.
All right, thanks for joining us, folks. And remember, this just in, Trey's Celebrity Challenge is going well. He got a Kenny Smith handshake here. This is great. Oh, no, he didn't!
Thanks tonight, people.